Good morning. It's good to see everybody. So my name is Mark Koester, and I'm with Koester Associates. Been doing that for 43 years. I did my first 2 years of school before going to Syracuse at MCC. And I was 21 to 23. And when I was 21 to 23, I couldn't imagine in a million years what it would be like to be 63. So who in this room is between 21 and 23? That's what I thought. Man, it goes fast, real fast. Like you hear the old timers like me say, it goes by in a minute, in a second. It does. All right, so what I understand, and first off, I've been doing this for probably 20 years here, or as long as this program's been going on. And so you guys have some presentations that you're going to be giving May 3rd. Who here loves to speak in public? Okay, we got one. Right. I kind of picked that up when you first walked in.
Oh, I'm tired.
And what?
I'm tired.
It's tired. And so this 45 minutes, this hour is about discussing some of the salient things, the more important things about speaking in public. One of the things that we're going to talk about is eye contact. I can't see your eyes because you got those glasses on. But that's okay. They're kind of cool. And so it's important to connect with your audience. Now, as I go through the presentation, I'm going to ask questions. If you're the first person to answer, if you're the first person to answer the question, right? With your hand in the air. Okay, you got to answer the question and raise your hand at the same time. I'm going to throw you a chocolate. At the end, the 3 people with the most chocolates are going to get this Cameron hydraulic book. Now, you guys aren't in hydraulics. Did you take any hydraulics in any of your studies? For engineers, this isn't one of the engineering Bibles. So at the end of the day, when you're my age and you're getting ready to retire and you take your cardboard box and then you pull the whatever awards you have off the walls and you put them in your box because it's time to retire, this book will go in that box. You'll have it. Again, you may not go into hydraulics, but it has formulas, equivalents. It has conversions. It has electrical data. It has pump data. It's a reference book. So the 3 people with the most chocolates. So I'll ask questions as I go, and then I'll throw chocolates. I want you to be ready, okay? Because I don't want to hurt anybody. But you got to pay attention. Watch this. You ready? Okay, you're the one not paying attention. I've been doing this a long time. I've been in this industry a long time, and I've been doing presentations for 40 years. I'm not particularly bashful. One of the things about presenting is you need to control your audience. Okay, they need to know that you're serious about what you're talking about. He wasn't paying attention, okay? But guess what? He got a chocolate for it. Oh, you gave it to this guy? Oh, he doesn't care. That's okay. So, why do you think I'm here?
To teach us how to public speak.
Teach you how to public speak. I like that. I asked, why do you think I'm here? And he said, to teach you how to public speak. Why do you think I'm here?
To reinforce our knowledge on public speaking.
To reinforce, I said, why do you think I'm here? To reinforce our knowledge on public speaking. I like that. That means you have some knowledge on public speaking. And that's really, I love that. And so you all do. Some people think public speaking is reserved for like sales guys and motivational speakers. The truth is we're all going to have opportunities to speak. We're going to talk about what those opportunities are in a minute. I mean, commonly I'll have somebody say they're comfortable with speaking in public. I've actually hired some folks who said they love to present. You know, and after a few weeks, months, I realized they're scared out of their mind, but they wanted a job, right? Speaking in public is scary. And it's okay to admit that. 99.9+% of people don't want to have to get up and present because it can be terrifying. It happened to me many moons ago. Who's been terrified before when you had to stand up and say something? Anybody yet? Yes, sure. I mean, it's a big deal. And there's some ways to help minimize that. There's no magic bullet, but there's some ways to help minimize it. Question, what do people fear more than death? You got to say the answer. You got to have your hand up and say the answer. You both raised your hands, but you raised it and said public speaking. Boom. Public speaking. Seinfeld was great. According to most studies, people's number one fear is public speaking. Number two is death. So death is number two. That means the average person, if you go to a funeral, you'd rather be in a casket than giving the eulogy. It's a funny statement, but it's really, there's some truth to that. Real truth. Before I go on, I want to explain the cameras in the room, which I haven't yet. I've been on several panels, especially since I've gotten older. People want to hear, youngsters want to hear from old timers what the most important thing we look for when I'm getting ready to hire somebody before an interview. I look for attitude first and foremost. It's very, very clear when somebody brings a great attitude. I'm just going to say that right now. If there's anything that you're hearing today, this is about public speaking. If I ever send you an email, it says attitude will always make the difference, and it will. That's the biggest message you're going to hear today. Your attitude is everything in life. It's what will make, it's what will create your entire future. The second thing is communication. Because you can have somebody that's really intelligent, but if they can't communicate what their ideas are, that's a problem. So the ability to get up and do what you're going to do when you present is really what will help to define your future and the success that you're going to have in your future. So this is a big deal, real big. Question, oh yeah, before we do that. So where are you, in life, just think about that, where are you going to have an opportunity to speak? What do you think? What do you think? Speak.
Planning board meetings?
Planning board meetings, perfect. Yes.
Team meetings.
Team meetings, perfecto. Anybody? You know what's fun? You get married and you're in a bowling league. You might be the speaker of your bowling league. You might be a dad and you're a mom and your kids and Girl Scouts or Cub Scouts and you're the leader. You might be speaking there. You might be at the funeral that I was at yesterday because a friend asked me if I would do the funeral. I've never done a funeral before. But he didn't have anybody else. They didn't go to church. They needed somebody to do the funeral service and the eulogy. What about a birthday? Your mom, your dad, your friend, somebody's having a birthday. And by and large, the birthday comes and the birthday goes. It's the person that will take charge, fight to the fear, and make a toast, a nice toast, that can change that birthday party. There's so many opportunities in life. They come, as many as you will accept, to stand up and be the speaker. In a family always needs a speaker. Always. For the birthdays and the retirements and the funerals and all of those things in between. So, big deal. The only way to get there is to fight through the fear and do it. I'd never done a funeral before yesterday. How did it go? I'm going to give it an 8, a 7. It's okay. Nobody cares about that other than me. But my friend cared because he needed somebody to support him and his family and the death of his wife. Critical. So you don't have to be perfect. Show up. Question: folding your arms during a conversation helps to build rapport. I need an answer. I need an arm and an answer. If two people raise their hands at the same time, the first person to raise 2 hands and say false. I think this gentleman in the back got it. When you're doing your presentation, it's common to do this if you're nervous. And I think the way this is going to work is there's going to be 3 or 4 of you, and you're going to have different sections of the presentation to do. Is that correct? If one of your teammates is up doing the presentation, wherever that is, this can be comfortable, right? But this really isn't a good way to stand if you're in front of people. You don't see Professor standing up here very often unless he's probably got some attitude because you guys are late or something like that. So we don't want that. This is okay. This is not okay. This is good. This can be good when you're speaking. Do something with your hands. But we don't want this, and we don't want this. Okay? When you're standing there waiting, and when you're up here. Where's it going to be, the presentations?
In an auditorium.
Oh, okay, so you're going to have this. Okay, that's even better. It's even more intimidating.
That's the plan.
And it's more intimidating depending on your attitude. Some of the greatest presentations that I've ever given, and I know one of the worst, was in a big, beautiful auditorium. So, embrace it. It's a true opportunity. Feel wonder when you get in there. Try to have the wonder suppress the fear. Like, wow. What is the most important aspect when public speaking? A, listening. B, proper body language. C, being yourself. D, preparation. And hand answer. Okay, who said preparation? Yeah, and the last time I was here, that was the answer, but it's not today. But here you go. What?
Body language.
That's a good one, but it's not the one I'm looking for. What'd you say? What'd you say?
Being yourself.
Yes. So here's a real and genuine are real and genuine any way you slice it. Have you ever met somebody that you just felt comfortable with? I think we all have, right? They were being themselves, and they were letting you be yourself. So people say, you're just a natural presenter. No. But I found a way to not look at it like presenting. I'm just myself. I don't know why I'm up here, other than I actually love it. And it's grown my business exponentially, the ability to go out and see hundreds and hundreds or thousands of people rather than one or two at a time. So I'm grateful for that opportunity. And it's because when you see me, when you listen to me, I'm telling you how I feel. I'm not making anything up. So I'm being genuine because that's who I am. If you try to be somebody that you're not, who's seen somebody who has a good BS meter? You guys know what I mean by BS meter? Can I say that in here? It takes about a millisecond to determine if somebody's giving you a line of BS. We're going to get to that. Because when you give your presentation, you're going to have some questions that you're not going to be able to answer. Yes.
I have a question. How do you suggest being yourself, or do you think being yourself is the most important in like a technical presentation also versus preparation?
Good. So I like that. So do I think that being yourself is as important in a technical presentation as preparation? I focus on preparation like more than anybody as far as what's necessary to be successful. If, however, you're the most prepared person, the most prepared, but you're not genuine, the person that's not as prepared, maybe even stumble and fumble a little bit, but he's a real person and you can identify with him, versus robot man over here who's really, really prepared. So preparation is absolutely critical when I answer that. But you've got to be genuine, you've got to be yourself in order to bring the whole package together. Preparation is this. Genuineness is this. But that makes the whole package. You take this away, this loses its value quickly. I will hire a C- student over an A++ student if they're real, genuine, honest, sincere, and they have a great attitude. Because they can learn. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Stephen Covey said it best. Listen with the intent to understand before you're understood. We'll talk more about this when it comes to the questions that you're going to have. Most people are waiting to respond. So, what's your name?
Elijah.
What?
Elijah.
Elijah. Mark.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Nice handshake. So we have a conversation. So what does RIT stand for?
RIT is the Rochester Institute of Technology.
Exactly. Love that. And so we could have this conversation, and the data chains are this way. Elijah speaks, I speak, Elijah speaks. I challenge you in a conversation today, tomorrow, whatever, with someone, when they finish their data chain. So I said, what does RIT stand for? And he Rochester Institute of Technology. And I jumped in and said, I don't remember what I said, but whatever I said. If I didn't, he would have gone even further about what RIT does without me asking him to. So when you're talking to people, if you don't give your data chain, there's maybe a 1 second of uncomfortableness, but he'll continue to talk. We could be 5 minutes, and Elijah's still telling me, now we're into his curriculum, the whole bit, and I haven't said a word other than what does RIT stand for. That happens all the time. When you're giving your presentations, when they ask you questions, make sure you listen for what that question really is. Step 1, order of priority, be yourself. I said that. So, who is yourself? My self is to be as congruent as I can be. That means I walk my talk, I do what I say I'm going to do. That's me. So, who are you? What? Yes. And what, like, when I say be you, who are you?
So you're expressing it?
What?
Expressing it?
You express things well?
Yeah.
Good, I like that. So he's expressive. Beautiful. Who are you?
I'm Donovan. I'm an engineer.
John.
Son.
Brother, son. Beautiful. Okay. And so when I ask that, I want you to think about who you are as a person. And so it's putting people on the spot, and that's okay, because that's what presentation's all about, because you get on the spot. Who are you?
I'm Shanna.
Hi, Shanna.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you, too.
I'm honest and social.
Honest and social. That's beautiful. So when you're doing your presentation, just be honest and social. That's all people want to see. So just be yourself. That honest and social person. That's what I'm talking about. You're a son and a brother, but you're more than that. Think about what that is. What are you bringing up here? What are you bringing to that auditorium? Who are you? Think about it. Who are you?
Me, I'm Daniel. I'm an athlete, student. I use my innovation and creativity.
You're innovative. You're creative. You're in good shape. Maybe great shape. Okay. You better shape than me? You want to see what we can do here? I like that. Probably you're going to beat me. I'm in pretty good shape for a 63-year-old. Yeah, I am. But I work at it.
Yeah, it takes work. Lots of work.
It does. It does. And I like that. And what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm vain? No, it means that I want to be congruent, and part of me expects me to take care of myself physically and mentally, spiritually and emotionally. So that's an important part of me. So it's not vain. It's just part of I'm up here saying be yourself. That's part of me being myself. I did that to a young engineer about 15 years ago. We did one-arm push-ups. Well, no, I don't even know if I could do one now. But he did 16-ish. I did 24. That was a long time ago. What? Can you do them? It is. I went by, yesterday when I was doing that funeral, I went by a hotel in Auburn. I had a big presentation like you guys are about to do in front of the board. And my competition had already been in there, and they were preferred. So I needed to come in, and several things happened. I was prepared, way more than my competition. I rented a hotel that I drove by yesterday, just for the room so I could change and have crisp clothes on 20 minutes before I walked into that presentation. Make sure I was good, everything was good. Yeah. And I was prepared many times more than they were. They took for granted they were going to be successful because they thought the owner was on their side. But the board didn't know. What they knew was what I said, and it was all factual. I'm not blowing smoke. Don't blow smoke up people. They blow smoke. Guess who got the job? What was the word you used a second ago? What? Competitive edge. Yeah, exactly. Okay, we're going to move through this. I get to talking. What are you wearing? What's the dress code?
Business casual.
Is this business casual?
Yeah.
Okay. Make sure that you don't have wrinkles. Make sure that your belt's good. Check each other. That's probably the best thing you can do. Check each other. Make sure there's no nose problems, teeth problems. I was in New York City at a show. It was a get together. It's a happy hour, and I met these 7 or 8 engineers. The gentleman that runs that office for me introduced me to all these people. A bunch of young engineers. Could be like 6, anywhere between 25 and 32. And then this older lady, like my age. Never met her before in my life. And I said, hey, how are you doing? Alicia. And then I looked at her, and she had some in her teeth. And I don't know this person at all. But as soon as I saw that, I grabbed her by the shoulders, and I stepped this way, and I turned her this way, and she's looking at me. I pulled her close to me. It could be weird, right? But I'm not weird, and I don't give off weird vibes. And I said, you have some SHIT in your teeth. Just like that. I didn't say SHIT. I said the real word, but I can't say that here. Right? I said, hey, you got some shit in your teeth. And she goes, oh. She goes, I said, to your right. I go, other right. So she puts over, next one. I go, yeah, you got it. Smile. I said, you got it. You want to talk about having a friend for life. Now she looks at these engineers and said, why didn't you tell me? They had lunch 6 hours ago. They had curry. She had that green curry in her teeth all day. They said, we didn't know what to say. I said to my guy, he's 58. I said, what? He goes, I didn't know what to say. Yeah, just say what I said. We want to protect each other. So when you guys are looking at each other, if a zipper's down, anything, make sure you're dressed appropriately. How much time do they have?
About 20 minutes.
20 minutes. I have only a few minutes left. So we got started 6 minutes late, 7 minutes late. I'm gonna speed up here. Make sure that when you practice, how many times are you going to practice before you do it together as a team? How many? Any? Will you have the opportunity to practice as a team together? I recommend 3. 3. I knew if I did every question in the back of the books when I was going to school, I could get a 4.0 in college. Took a lot of effort. I got a 4.0 in college. Not because I'm super smart. I'm a pretty smart guy. But I work my behind off. Preparation is the key. So who's going to be in the audience?
General public, engineers,
Guys like me?
users,
Okay, beautiful.
clients.
Okay. If you noticed, I made eye contact, and I have been making eye contact. I think I pretty much connected with everybody in the room. Some more than others, and some that are uncomfortable, I'm not spending any time on. What's really common is you're given a presentation this way. Okay, and so there's no people, and so I'm giving a presentation this way, right? I'm not. So there's a blob and there's a blob. Okay, and that's natural and normal, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's just could be more effective if, in fact, you make eye contact. But again, not too much, because some people don't like it. Oh, I can look back there. You only got 15 minutes, so you're not going to have to worry about giving an hour presentation. You always want to pay attention. Like when I first started talking, and this gentleman, I'll just say this, always pay attention. If somebody looked at their watch, I'm going to know about it. You just did this, like ordinarily, I think you're engaged. This could have been a sign of, I'm getting tired, going, will this guy shut up? Right? That could have been it. It wasn't your sign. But you got to pay attention. Always looking around the room. You need to be in control of the room. It's important. Yes, go ahead.
So when you notice somebody eyeing or like looking at it, what do you do to recover there?
Yeah, good. So at the end of the day, how do you recover if all of a sudden you've lost people? One is to raise your voice. Okay, so I don't have a problem projecting. That can be if somebody's soft-spoken like this, and I'm presenting like this, and I'm doing this, and I'm saying so. You got to control the room. Just make sure you're controlling the room, and that's a problem. But if you raise your voice, and if all of a sudden, two answers. One, if it's a podium, raise your voice and put your energy that way. Raise your voice. Don't look at the person that just did that, but raise your voice. If, in fact, you can roam like I'm roaming, I will almost always make my way in that area so that I'm waking somebody up. If it's depending on the format, like this, I may call a dude out. I'm not necessarily calling him out, but yes, raise your voice is big. Move your energy that way. Our energy is really strong, and you can direct it. As far as questions, you need to repeat them. I asked a few questions earlier, and I repeated the question, and then I repeated their answer. You're going to get questions. They're going to be tough. Repeat the question when it's asked. Now, all of a sudden, who in the group is going to be the guy answering questions or the gal? Have you put that? We got one. But so from a team standpoint, you need to figure that out. Because the questions is the toughest part. Because they're going to ask, there's some guys that love to make people squirm. Okay, I've been doing it. I've been to a dozen of these things. I'll help if I'm in the room. I think May 3rd works for me. If some guy's giving you a hard question and he's drilling on you, I'll help to run interference. Because some people don't know, right? Your kids, you can't know these answers, right? It's not like you've designed a whole bunch of bridges. You did one in school or whatever it is you're designing. But repeat the question. It gives you time to think of an answer, right? And it gives everybody else in the room, because if you say the question and you're not a loud speaker, they don't know what your question is. And it's an auditorium. An auditorium filled with opportunity, remember? And you getting tired over here? You good? Yeah. Okay. He had the stretch thing going on. So I'm just making sure. So repeat the question. It gives you time to think. It allows you to tell everybody else what that question is. And then go. Make sure you listen to the question. And it's okay. It's not only okay, it's very appropriate if you don't know the answer to say, if you get hit with a question, you see it on Jeopardy, you know they have no idea what the answer is. Boom, you don't know what it is. I don't know the answer to that, but I'll make note of it and I will get back to you and move on. I've seen folks try to navigate a question where they have no ability to answer it. And you get caught. And you start going down this rabbit hole. And then you get red-faced. You get embarrassed. Don't just say, I don't know. It's okay. Because guess what? You don't know. And why should you? Because you don't have any field experience. You don't have any experience yet. You're just learning. Okay. What percentage of communication is body language versus verbal? What do you say?
80-20.
I got two 80-20s. I'm going to tell you right now, if I start saying something that's not congruent, even if my words are right, my body will give it away so fast, it's crazy town. That's what I mean by being honest. Did you say that you were honest? Yeah, and honest and social. Right. That's a key. You just be yourself. And if you screw up, you misstate something, you state something wrong, it's okay. Everybody does it. If you're and also you want to meet your audience where they are. So I don't think you're going to have people in there like me that have been doing engineering and projects for a long time. So I'm going to have a bunch of experience, and so are most of the people in the room. They're going to have their own experience, superintendents, and so you're not going to have to worry. But when you're presenting, you want to make sure that if the people are not, whether it be a one-on-one or a one-on-3 or a one-on-100, whatever your message is needs to be a message that can connect with your audience. And that's your responsibility as a presenter. Are they going to have time to meet with people?
After the presentation.
After the presentation. Okay, after. So one of the things that's important is the ability to connect. How are they getting graded? You're doing the grading?
Me and their faculty advisor.
So will their interaction with people add to their grade at all?
No, the only part of interaction that is graded is Q&A.
Q&A, okay. Normally I'd spend a minute on handshake, but I don't think. Nice. Good, nice and firm. So I'll just say this: meet handshakes with the resistance. Not too much. Nice. Firm. Do that again. Nice. Yeah, that was good. So I was with a gentleman who's a dear friend of my son's, actually saved my son's life. Like one month ago, my oldest son, the doctor came out of the room and he said, "I'm sorry, you need to prepare yourself. Your son will not make it." That's my oldest son. He's 42 years old. If I go any further in that subject, I'll start crying. So I can't. But I'm just telling you that happened. He's alive. I'm going down there tonight. Looks like he's going to be okay. Thanks to one nurse. The doctor walked out of the room and pronounced him gone. One nurse wouldn't let him go. His name was Serge. He finally moved him around enough to get the ventilator into the one lung that he has, and was able to keep him going so they could get him on induced coma for a number of weeks. So his best friend was the one who actually was with 911 and took him down there. But he shook his hands too hard. And I said, "John, I don't shake your hand because it's not comfortable. It hurts." Nobody ever told him that. He didn't have a dad. It was a life-changing moment for him. Handshakes are fantastic. I thought that there was interaction, that made part of the grade, so we're not going to spend any more time on that. What is the first thing you do after from an audience, if somebody from the audience asks you a question? First thing you do? What? What'd you say? See? Okay, I think he got you, but you were right. You want to repeat the question. I normally don't get C's, but that was the right answer. Repeat the question. I see people, 30-year presenters. First, they present to the screen, and I didn't say this to you. Don't do that. We're going to get to that in a second. You're presenting to an audience. It's nice here because this stuff is like this, and you're not going to have that. You're going to have a computer. Will they have a computer in front of them? Okay, you'll have your computer in front of you, and that's okay to look at it. Don't stare at it. First presentation I did in 1985, I presented to the slide for the first 5 slides, but I kept telling myself, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. You got to face the monster. Finally, I did, and I faced the monster. And this calm came right over me. They're not monsters. You guys aren't monsters. Guess what? You're real people who have the same joys and experiences that I do. That's who you're presenting to, not the screen. Hear me on that. I see it all the time. Technical presentation. We can fly through this. It's okay. You need to keep it simple. You're going to have a cover slide or a cover page, correct?
You're okay with time, Mark. Don't worry about it.
Okay. You sure? Thank you for noticing that. So at the end of the day, you're going to have a cover. Are you having a cover slide, cover page? Right. So here we go. Village of Newark. That's not working, does it? Wastewater treatment plant. Down below, energy optimization project. It was. So this is a case study for the Ogdensburg, New York wastewater treatment plant. That's a problem. Because I'm talking about Newark, not Ogdensburg. Point of this is, if there's anything wrong in your cover slide, anything. Remember I said preparation was this, and being yourself, real and genuine was this. If you don't have this, this means virtually nothing. You screw that up. Make sure you know if it's a village, a town, a city. Make sure that you know that. If you spell the mayor's wrong, if it's a mayor, if you spell his name wrong, it's over. I mean, that should be immediate failure for your presentation. I'm saying, I had a professor in hydraulics at MCC. Some of our hydraulic problems were 5 pages long. If you got the wrong numerical answer, but the units were correct, you could get up to a 95, because he knew that you knew how to do the problem. If you were smart, super smart, and you didn't need to do the work to come up with the numerical answer, but your work was wrong, or he knew you didn't know how to do it, failure. They took him to the dean to try to have him removed from the school. Wish I could remember his name, but it's been too long. But that was a perfect example of life. Life isn't fair. He was saying, I want you to show up. I want you to know how to do the work. I want you to do what you're supposed to do. And in this case, make sure on your cover slide that it's all correct. And as much as I say this in any presentation I've given in this class, there are some cover slides that aren't correct. Don't do it. You want to keep it simple, keep it to bullets. Are we going to have any board members, like kind of board member people? There's going to be some people in here that aren't have any idea what you guys are talking about.
Oh, there'll be many people that have no knowledge.
Okay, perfect. So keep it simple, something they can understand. Okay, you know what inefficient is, you know what outdated is, you know what power saving is. So you know that funding's in place. We know those things. Okay, that can keep you engaged. It's not too technical. Make sure that they can read your slides. Can you guys read everything on there? Exactly. So I wouldn't do that. I can read it, but I'm standing right next to it. If you're going to do a graphic, make sure that it is legible. Do not have have slides that have a ton of text on it. The text should be coming from you. Yes, you can have data points and things, but don't just. I was at one recently, and a guy took like a newspaper article and put it up there. Raise your hand if you think that is not particularly effective. Exactly. We don't want that. Scope, same. I'll go back to that. Very simple. We're putting in new blowers, new fine ablation, updated DO control. Make sure it's simple. People love photos. Photos are easy. They say 1,000 words. That's what they had. That's what they're putting in. Very quick. These are the benefits. Again, we can go down through it. People know that it's quiet and there's power savings and there's operational flexibilities. So this is all about keeping it simple. And I don't know if you have talked in those terms as far as the presentation.
We have talked about.
Okay, very good. Again, more photos. This is what they had existing. We don't need to spend time on it. I wanted to give you some examples. So if they don't know, if you're on the board, I'm telling you that's what your aeration system is going to look like. You don't need to know anymore. You can go home saying, "Oh, that's what we're going to get," and that's the kind of bubbles we're going to put out. This isn't a time to dive into the depths. And anytime you're not with me, correct me. I mean, if it needs to be more technical than I'm saying right now.
There is some aspects that they would need to be a little bit more technical, but we talked about this, how to simplify even the more technical.
Okay, that's the key. There is the technical aspect of it, and what I just showed you was a 1-hour presentation that I cut down to 6-7 slides. This got a much more technical in it, but it's just the essence of keep it simple. Get your point across, but keep it as simple as possible. What's the difference between coarse bubble, fine bubble, and ultra fine bubble aeration? Yes? That was fast and exactly right. The size of the bubbles. Why does the size matter? I got 2 hands, but you got to say something.
Smaller surface area in the larger bubbles. Smaller bubbles have more surface area to aerate the water better.
Were you going to say that too?
Well, something like that.
Okay, he got you first, and he articulated it quite well. And not that you wouldn't have, but so the more surface area you have, the more air-water interface you have. That's where you go to fine bubble or ultra-fine bubble. The more air-water interface you have, the higher your dissolved oxygen transfer efficiency is, the less power you lose. Done. You guys are youngsters, so you're not going to know this, but several things of this presentation. I've learned to leave loved ones with loving words. You're a son and a brother. Make sure your dad knows how much you love. Make sure your brother knows how much you love him. Now, as I get older, now all of a sudden I'm seeing more and more of this happen. But when I see somebody lose somebody, I had a guy wanted to meet with me last night at the Pittsford Renaissance Hotel. I haven't seen him in a long time. He knew I was in town. Well, he has a daughter. He has 2 daughters. One of them is 25, 27 years old. She has an autoimmune disease like 2 of my sons. You can't have chemo. She has cancer. He just needed somebody to talk to. And you never know. So make sure if there's a brother or a sister or a dad or a mom or a friend that you really, maybe you got a little something with you, and you just tell them how you feel about them. Clear it up, clean it up, because you never know in this life. Never know. Leave people with loving words. You said technical. Here's an example of technical. You don't have to spend a lot of time on it. People are going to want to come to this. And it's bold and it's the largest. Okay, here's what your existing boat, you're paying $103,000 a year on power. You put in the new system, it's going to pay $50,973. You're going to save $52,000 a year in power. That's the essence of this presentation. They're going to save $1 million in 20 years. For a small community, that's a bunch of money. And they had funding in place. So you want to distill your big picture items, your summaries, down to something that's quick and easy for people to understand. What do bulletproof vests, fire escapes, windshields, laser printers all have in common? They were invented by if you're not a man, you are a who's going to say that? He got it first. I know. But here, you've been trying. I have a story about that, but you don't have time. And that's okay. They were all invented by women. Who has a larger brain? What? I believe women are generally smarter than men. I think they have more common sense. That's not the answer. What? I got to have an arm in the air for an answer. Exactly. It's funny, isn't it? And I mean, I learned it, I got it on the internet, but I think it's true. So I always marveled at my wife, because we got together, she was 15, I was 16. And we would be like, we're 20 years into our relationship, and she like, for 10 years, stuff would happen with the kids, stuff would just happen. And I'm like, how do you know that? We take IQ tests. My IQ was substantially higher than hers. Not that it matters. My point is, she would always say, "You're smarter than I am." Well, how do you know that stuff? Women bring a unique sense of intelligence to this planet that we need. Yeah, it's a fact. That's how I feel anyway. Okay. Your ability to when you prepare and you're able to actually convey a message, convey and summarize what you have set out for 2 weeks, 2 months, or 2 years to get ready for, and you actually deliver what you had intended. And you create those feelings and the impact. It's one of the greatest things in life. I mean it. And I felt good yesterday that I did that funeral, and I didn't have to. I could have said, "No, I'm busy." But I didn't. And it took some preparation. I had a story about Ivy, and I'm going to do it. And what's our time here?
You're good. You're good.
So I want to talk about preparation. Normally, that is the number one. If you prepare, you will succeed. If you're fully prepared, you'll fight through whatever stage fright you have. Your body already knows the material. You own it. You physically and mentally and spiritually own it. If you prepare. Who's the athlete in the room? We have more than one. Do you prepare? Exactly. All the time. And when it's time to go, when it's go time, you're not wondering the mechanics of how to do it and all that. I mean, sure, there's a piece of that, sure. But the point is that you already have practiced it so many times. I'm getting a massage after a marathon in San Diego. Ivy was the lady. And so she started, I laid on my back, she started on the front, then I turned on my back, turned on my stomach, so she's doing my back, asked me where I was going. I said, I'm going to Las Vegas to give a presentation. This is 1997, long time ago. I remember it. And I go, I'm going to give a presentation. She goes, oh, I can't give presentations. My daughter, I'm scared to death. And when her daughter was 6, she asked her to come read a children's book to her class. She's 6. Ivy made an excuse because she was terrified to get in front of 6-year-olds to read. That's not a judgment. That's simply factual. 7 years old, next year, same thing happens. Comes home, Mom, can you come to school and read a book? She made another excuse, and she hated herself for it because she didn't step through the fear. That was the year before. Now their daughter's 8. She's giving me a massage. She's telling me about it. She goes, it's in 5 weeks. And I don't know what to tell her. I'm scared out of my mind. I said, if I could help you overcome the fear, prepare for it, and you could actually do it, would you? I can't. I'm not going to. I said, will you listen to me? She's giving me a massage. I said, I want you to go home and read all the books. I want you to find the first 4 or 5 that you like. I mean, the 4 or 5 that you like. Read them 10 times. Find the one you like. Every week, I want you to read it 10 times a night. I want you to read it out loud. I want you to use tonation. I want you to do it in the mirror. The last week, I said, when it's done, you're going to get up. I mean, you're going to go up. You're going to do the greatest book reading that class has ever heard. And your daughter's going to give you a hug, and she's going to say, Mom, I love you. Thank you. And what do I feel on my back? Tears. So several things happened. One, she sent me a note that said, hey, I did it. She went up, she prepared, she did it. Changed her life. Maybe she doesn't do it again, but she did it that one time. That was the best thing that happened. 2, I got an extra 30 minutes in my massage because it took that long to get through all that. So that was totally cool. But the point is, it's about preparation. She needed to prepare. So if I can leave you with anything today, it's preparation. It's preparation. You good with that? You on it? Okay. I see that. You got a beautiful smile, great dimples, like that. Do that again. Yeah. And so that's cool too. Be yourself. Some people look at me like, you said that to another guy? Hey, if you see something that you want to compliment. It's okay, man or woman. It's okay if that's who you are, and that's who I am. So, who's the funny man in this class? Do we have any funny people? We've had a couple of funnies. Up, are you a funny guy? Well, there's been a few that are funny, and so being funny it can be extremely powerful, but it can also go south on you. So let's see here. I don't need to do that because we're over time. There's a real quick funny story. Yeah, I'm gonna do it fast. So I'm a professor. We're all in church, okay? And I have 4 worms, and I put a worm in each jar, and I put alcohol, chocolate, cigarette smoke, and good fertile soil, and I take the card over here. I said, let's see what happens to those worms. And I do a 45-minute Power Pack presentation. And we're talking about the good word. We're talking about treating people the way you want to be treated. We're talking about living your life the way that you should live it. And I said, okay, now let's see what happened to the worms. The one in the chocolate, dead. The one in the alcohol, dead. The one in the cigarette smoke, dead. The one in the fertile soil, alive. Oh, wow. Reached in, got it. Squirreling all around. What does this mean? What does this experiment teach you? We just did this sermon. He had chills about being the best you can be. And a young lady stands up and she says, Pastor, I think I know the answer. I think what you're telling us is that as long as we drink alcohol, smoke cigarettes, and eat chocolates, we're never going to have worms. Huh? Okay, you didn't get it. So what do you think? Do you think that could be funny? That is funny, but it wasn't funny today. So I'm glad it worked out that way. I would have anticipated some laughs because that is funny, but I did it too fast, but that's okay. That's a good example of humor. I feel great about that because unless you're a funny man and or a funny girl and you know how to use humor, I'd stay away from jokes if anybody was planning on it. We've had some that have. That's the whole reason for me to bring this up. So I've seen both. We've had some naturally funny folks, and it was a home run, and we've had some naturally not funny folks, and it was exactly what it was. Bad. So I always ask who wants to go skydiving. Okay. Before we leave, I need to get, first somebody has to have a pen. Do you have a pen on you? Write the days to date, write RIT, write skydiving, and your name, your email, and your phone number, and then whoever else wants it. Once a year, I go skydiving in Warsaw, New York. Who lives near enough where they could do that in August or September? Oh, you have? You skydive there?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet. Totally cool, isn't it?
In
Rochester Skydivers.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've been doing it 35 years. All those people have gone, and the ones in red are the only ones we've lost. I'm kidding. Those are the only, those went back. We literally, because of COVID and change of ownership, it's been 4 years, but I've been doing it now 36 years, 32 running. So pass that to the next person who wants to go skydiving. Show of hands again for skydiving. Here, I'm not paying for it. I'm facilitating it. Okay, he's like, man, I'm not going that. No, I'm just kidding. But what did you say? Exactly. It's $200 or maybe $250. Amortize it over your life. It's 0.0000001 cents a day. So, and the feeling you get when you jump out is similar to the feeling you get when you prepare for a presentation and you deliver it. And I mean that. I've seen it. I've done it. So prepare, get ready. It's an opportunity. It's nothing more or nothing less than that. No more, no less. It's an opportunity to shine. And when you jump out of that airplane and you come down, you're going to have a feeling like you've never had, just like when you finish this presentation and you're prepared. And if you have somebody in your group that doesn't want to be, that's like reluctant to be prepared, get your other group members together and get on that person. This is a team effort for you guys to shine in a way that I talk to folks that are now out of school 10 years, and if there's one thing that they remember, it's this presentation. I mean it. It's a big deal. So, you don't need to tell stories, and I don't have time to tell stories, so I'm going to leave you with that. If, in fact, you want to feel the exhilaration of jumping out of an airplane, which some of you are going to feel in August when we'll send you an email and we'll get it set up. We'll meet you for breakfast. We'll go to the jump site. You'll do your hour of training. Then you'll go up in the airplane, and you're going to come down. And it'll be after this presentation, and you're going to be like, this feels just like that presentation did. And so I'm excited for you to do your presentations. For those that want to jump out of an airplane, I'm excited for that. So we don't have time for questions and answers because it's been kind of open all along. But do we have time for questions and answers? So do we have any questions? I'd like it to be yeah.
What would you say to us Italians that speak with our arms? Is that distracting? Is it perfectly acceptable?
Okay, the question is, did you hear that over there? You did? Okay, well, it's small. In auditorium, you won't. So what do you say to somebody, in Italians, I don't know if I can even say that now, but what do you say to somebody who naturally speaks with their arms? That's perfectly fine. And we don't want it to be this stuff, right? But you're not like that. You speak with your arms. And so that's just puts you out there more. And so as long as it's appropriate, but it's who you are and it's how you act. So be yourself. And so I'd say the answer is be yourself, and you're Italian, so speak with your hands and your arms because that's what you do. And convey your message. And so it won't be just this. It could be, whatever it's going to be. So be yourself. Yes. Yes.
Our group's presentation is through a screen. If we're doing a double capstone, how do you engage with people on the screen?
So the question is, their group's presentation is to a screen. That means you're going to be where? And that changes things a bit. And so you're going to have a camera. You're going to have a camera. Learn some hand language from this gentleman right here. I'm just kidding. You're going to want to be as demonstrative as you can. You're presenting to a screen. So you have a camera and you have a screen behind you. How does that look? Let's just talk about that. Good. Do we know what that format's going to look like? Oh, it's Zoom. So you kind of get a get out of jail free card, and you do, because you can be yourself. They can see you, and you can even have notes and stuff, whatever you need. So it's not. The rest of the good folks it's go time. It's going to be go time for you too, no question about it. You're just not going to have that added. I'm right in front of people. So I'm going to go back to you got to prepare and you got to know your information, and you're just presenting into a screen, so you need to make sure you're right into that screen. So that probably what's behind you, and how you look in that screen is the starting point. I mean, we've all seen team meetings, right? and where somebody's got something in the background that's kind of flashing in and out, in and out, in and out. You want to make sure that graphics are good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Enrique, when you're presenting in a virtual, your slides have to be basically perfect because you can overcome bad slides with a good presentation in person, but not in a virtual setting because that's where people are gonna be focused all the time. They will not be focused on the little screen where you're presenting. So your slides have to be not much writing, lots of figures, and you will be doing the talking. You'll be guiding the audience through those slides.
All right, so you won't even see, you might see a little
Little part.
Okay, so you're literally are not even going to be part, your voice is going to be part of it. With a little side, right. But, yeah, so.
How it is in that classroom, remember, it's like big board, so maybe we'll be on a big screen on their end.
Sure, but your screen will be big on their end, and you'll be a foot by foot, right? So it's still important that you look good, that you're presenting yourself well. But getting your message across with energy, I like to walk and talk. So the screen thing, I prefer. I didn't really during COVID and all of that. I didn't like it. It is what it was. You make the best of it. So I don't know if I answered your question. Now that you've answered, and thank you, your graphics need to be as good as possible, and make sure you're cleaned up. Yes. Yes.
So this happened to us, but I was wondering what is like the best way to go if you're getting like a string of questions that are all like kind of related, but you're not equipped to handle. Is it the best way to do that still to say, hey, I don't know, but I'll get back to you? Or is there another way you think you should navigate that with like a multitude of questions?
So that's a great question. So if we get a bunch of questions, what's an example? Like how much concrete, how did you figure your concrete out over here? Or what kind of concrete? What, is it 3,000 or 4,000 pound concrete? And if we got concrete questions, do we put them all together? So if you get a string of questions that are similar, can you put them together, or do you just give 4, I don't know, I'll get back to you, I don't know, I'll get back to you, I don't know, I'll get back to you, I don't know, I'll get back to you. That doesn't feel good. However, nobody has a crystal ball, and unless they come at you in a way that it's easy for you to grab, reformulate, and then give a single answer out to, I don't know, I'll get back to you. And years ago in Rochester, RIT Engineers, I'm in their office, I'm 25 years old, I'm doing a design of a filtration system, never done it before. I've had to practice for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours to know what the controls, the filtration, everything was. I was ready. We're done, our presentation. They're going with my process. I'm excited. Somebody asked me one final question. How do you keep the grout from getting in the end of the tile blocks on the underside of the filtration system? This is a filtration system going down in West Point that's supposed to last 50 years. I didn't know the answer. I said, this is what I don't want you to do. I said, oh, you can do anything. At that moment, they knew that I had no idea what the answer was. Oh, anything? What's anything? I said, oh, you could put cardboard in a concrete water filtration system to treat water for 5 million people for the next 50 years. Cardboard. I said, or plywood. Like the dumbest thing. The meeting was over. I lost all credibility. I left the room. That quick. 59 minutes and 30 seconds of the most beautiful meeting. 30 seconds, I burned into a pulp of ash.
Yeah, I think that there is a way of saying I don't know. You cannot just say I don't know. There's a way of saying I don't know. I'll get back to you. There's a way of saying I will take that into consideration for a final product. That you can do that to kind of diverse, so you don't keep saying I don't know all the time. But yeah, do not lie or do not try to.
Thank you for that clarification. That's very important. I'm not trying to advocate that you're like, hey, I don't know, next question. Hey, I don't know, next question. No, I don't know. I'll get back to you. Or that's a great question. I don't know the answer. I'm not prepared to give you the answer, but I'll get back to you. So, add more to it. I would kind of make an example, but so thank you for clarifying me on that. And so you want to have good context with it, and you want to be nice about it and professional about it. But the essence is, if you don't know, you don't know. And so the message is, if you're stepping somewhere that you don't know, there could be a landmine there. So don't. So, okay. Any more? Yes.
I have the question. You mentioned you've had great presentations and a few bad ones. So what distinguishes those bad ones? Asking, what characteristics basically to avoid that you've had in those bad ones.
So the question is, so I've had some great presentations, and I've had some bad ones. And I would say bad ones would fall into to probably two categories in general. One, if I wasn't prepared. Like, I got back from Washington, not last night, the night before at midnight. And I needed to get ready for that funeral yesterday. I stayed up and I was prepared for it. But there's times when you're not quite as prepared. And so lack of preparation is number one. Always. Two, it's even more sensitive today. I'm talking about something that could offend somebody. You got to stay as far away from any potential of offense of anybody. I talked about a germaphobe once because I just learned about it. And it was 300 people in the room, and I didn't realize. I just learned about it. Well, somebody in the room had a sister who just passed away. She was a germaphobe. And he got up and stormed out of the room because I was making fun of, and I wasn't making fun of. But in his mind, I was. So you ought to be really sensitive to everybody, people's feelings and emotions. So, all right, we're over time. Yes, you have one more question?
I was going to say, like throughout your Q&A, you always say, so the question was this.
Yes.
Do you recommend us do that in our presentation, or how do you recommend us repeat the question and then?
Yeah, so, yes, and so we talked a little bit about that. When you get a question, repeat it. So the question is, during Q&A, do we repeat the question? And so yes, that gives you time to think of your answer. That's important. And it also lets everybody else in the room know what your question was, because it's an auditorium, it's going to be big. And I would say most importantly, it gives you time to think of what your answer is going to be, to formulate it. And you can also repeat the question in a format that you might be better. Somebody might have asked a question that's one way, but it could really be a better question. So you get to format the question the way you want to everybody so they know what the question is. I didn't spend enough time on this, but I watch presenters get ready to do a presentation for a number of weeks and months. What time is it over there? What do you got? Okay. What is it? 10:20. Okay. So I'll watch guys prepare. And so all of a sudden it's over. It's question and answer period. And it's a room that's 3 times this big. So there's 80 people in the room. Somebody asks a question from over there, and you answer it. Great. Well, half the room doesn't hear it. So they're just trying to figure out what the question is. But you've already lost them because they don't have the question. Somebody over here asks the question, and you answer it. Well, they don't hear the question. Somebody back here asks the question. These guys don't hear it, but you answer it. It's so different when you ask a question and I repeat your question to you in my words, but it's your question. Now everybody hears it. Now we're all on the same page. So we're all engaged. I answer it. You have another question, and I repeat it in my words, your question. Everybody's engaged. It's a difference between an okay presentation and transforming a presentation to greatly exceed even what your expectations were. The Q&A period is critical. You got to bring everybody together. So all of a sudden, after 5 questions, we are a homogeneous group. And we've heard the questions, we've heard the answers, and we're fired up, and we understand, we're interested, we're engaged. So I'm over. Let's find out how many chocolates people have. I have 3 books. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn around, and I'm going to count to 5. You can do whatever you want with your chocolates. Okay, I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. We have 4, 2, 4, 3, 1. Okay, so you have 3? Your name?
Donovan.
Donovan. Nice to meet you as well. Nice shake. 4?
4. Thank you.
Tell me your name again.
Elijah.
Elijah. Thank you, Elijah. Nice handshake, too.
Julian.
Julian?
Yep.
Hey, nice handshake. Got a little crunch, got a little knuckle on that one. It was good. It was right on the edge of too hard, but good. Did you hear my knuckle?
Yep.
Exactly. I'm older. Got to pay attention to that. So I always enjoy it. I hope that you got something out of it. Preparation is the key. Be yourself. And it's an opportunity. When you go in there, just wonder, just wow, this is so cool. Bring positive energy. That's what will set you free. So, thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Len.
Yeah, thank you. So what happens now? So you sit down, you got some more words? What do we do now?
No, we take a break. Take a break, get together with your groups.